Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Dina and today I'm here with you for another yarn talk video. So yeah, it's time for the weekly update and a bit of chitty chatty yarn. And as always, we can't talk yarn without me having my faithful mug of tea here, which today is a loose tea blend called a Nimvik's Tots. I got this tea blend when I was in the city with that shopping tour I brought you with me on. This is a black loose tea and it's like a fruity taste with rose leaves, dried grapes, so raisins, I think we will call them in English, pineapple and cornflowers. So it's just this lovely, and it is indeed a fruitful taste, and it's kind of sweet without being super sweet. It's also a bit fresh in the taste. I really enjoy this tea, and I'm really happy I got it, and it will certainly probably be one I will pick up next time that I go to that tea store. And some of you were actually interested in if I could maybe do some recordings there. So of course I will have to ask them if they will permit that. So where have we been and what have I done since a last yarn talk video? It's been fairly busy with a bit of everything. Like, you know, days gone on, work has passed by. I'm trying to plan a bit of days off, even though I don't have that many days left because I spent a lot of my vacation in the winter when we went to New Zealand. But yeah, just doing reckless life stuff. But I have had time to crochet a fair bit. Still not finished up a project. I tend to work on these big projects, so I can't finish up one a week. And sometimes I might end up finishing up several a week. And you know, it doesn't really matter how quickly I finish them, as long as I don't start on them and then leave them for a year or so to then finish them. You know, like I just need to have some sort of ongoing progress. Sometimes it's okay to leave it for a week or two, but I need to make sure that I don't forget completely about it, because then I also know what's gonna happen. I almost made a sort of a yarn haul this weekend, because when I was doing my grocery shopping, I went to the supermarket and I found thread. And the thread I found is like, you know, sewing thread, but they had these 4 rolls of sewing thread for €2. Was it €2.50? Something like that. Pretty cheap. And it's just polyester, but it's like these different grays, which is perfect for when I'm gonna do sewing for the pouch or clutch or whatever we should call it, but we'll be talking about that a bit later. Just going to move things around. So regarding the Leaf on Me vest, progress has been pretty okay, I would say. I finished up my goal, which would be to finish the first side of the front panel. And of course, I realized something afterwards, which is I should have cut the thread longer, because then I could have used it for sewing the piece together up here with the back piece. I know that for when I'm making number 2. I should have thought just a little further, but I guess we all sometimes make those where we're like, I should have. It's not like it's gonna be a problem. It will be fine. As you can see here, the front panel has finished. This would be the one that goes under the arms. So you can see here that you go in and that will be the arm piece. This is then the side with the V-neck, though I thought it would proceed further up, but basically the pattern says here is where you make the V-neck and then you progress evenly up. So when you look at it, I'm not sure if I can actually even show it properly because I'm not long enough, but it's just having this short V-neck kind of thing. So you can't barely see, but it will basically first round here on the collarbone, start with a V-neck that goes to around a bit further south than the crevices. It's okay. I somehow thought it would be a more equal one. Of course, I did add 5 rows extra to make sure that I had enough gap under my arms. I am here in hindsight being a bit like, maybe I have now too much gap. But I do that because I do have a little bit thicker overarms than the average. But yeah, so that size, the first one. And this was where I ended last week, and it's exactly where I started to have this V-line. So I finished this much, so to say. And I already have the full back piece, which you have seen. I should, just for those that's watching for the first time, I will re-show it quickly. This is the whole back piece. And this Leaf on Me vest, it's important to say it is an oversized vest. So it is going to sit very loosely and very drapey. But you can also easily see it when you look at this. You know, it is very drapey. So I still think it's gonna be absolutely gorgeous. It's definitely gonna be oversized. I am debating that I could probably even have done it in medium and had an oversized vest, even though I did add one more repeat, so that will equal a large. But yeah, here in hindsight, you know, whatever I have made here is definitely more than be sizing enough. And you know, if it's gonna be too big for me eventually, we'll see. It's not gonna get thrown out. I started then on the second front panel, which is just basically gonna be an exact copy of the left. And that's also why I still have some stitch markers in to help me keep track on when I did what. Because in the pattern, it just says, you know, when you finish this V-neck part, then it says just crochet straight lines up, but it doesn't really define how you do it, because the pattern on the V-neck part doesn't exactly end at similar place as the one that would be towards your arms. So I kept it to help me at least make an identical copy, and then it's easier to find when I keep the stitch markers in. And you know, most of us, we do have more than plenty of enough stitch markers. I started on number 2 here. I did have a single yarn change because I had a knot in the yarn. And so I need to weave in those ends, but basically that would be number 2. And this is the amount of yarn I currently have left on my 3rd skein. Looking at this, I might be able to finish it on 3 skeins. That would be really, really a surprise. Though I do subconsciously expect needing one more. We will see. What I do know, based on how much time I spent on the second front panel, is that I sort of hope to be done with this vest within the next 2 weeks. Maybe quicker, maybe not. It kind of depends on how much time I have to crochet and how much the other projects inspire me, and you know, like life stuffs. And yeah, it would be really, really nice to get it finished, because that means that I can start on my next project. At least I'm trying to not start on another piece of garment before I have this vest done. I have this very also oversized or loose fit sweater in mind, with that lovely super soft yarns from Soft Sensation, actually, from Lamy Yarns, which I showed you yarn holes from the Tweedhounds Woolwiggle. I did twice hauls because I want to make sure I actually had enough yarns. We talked about that also. But yeah, I'm really hoping to finish that vest, so like as soon as possible, because yeah, you know, we can start new projects. My fingers are really itchy. and starting a new project. I can feel that. So it is a challenge right now. Quickly for that, the West, I'm using my 3.5mm crochet hook, and then we have my baby blanket, which is also progressing well. As you can see, the blue marker here would be the stitch marker from last week, and it's in the corner V-stitch is where I ended. And what you can see is that I finished a complete round because I'm past it with the shell stitches. So what I did was I finished all the V-stitches all the way around to the start, which was like the opposite corner. And then I started doing shell stitches, which is about 1.5 around in. So I have about half a round to go. So I've done like 1.5-ish rounds, I guess. So it's actually starting to be so big that I can barely have it here on the screen. And it's more interesting to do it up here because this is actually where the shell stitches are. That will be a bit wider, and maybe I should actually measure it. I do think I have a measuring tape, just a moment. I do measuring tape. Because I am actually curious how far we have gotten. So just one moment. Oh, it's about 70 centimeters wide. Yeah, I can just have it here on the screen. That means I have about, for what I really wanted as a minimum, this much to go. So that's still gonna be a few rounds. Let's see how much is a stitch. Actually, a shell stitch is about 1.5-ish centimeters. So that's like 10, 15 rounds. 15, if we say there are 2, maybe more. And then I want to add some of this baby pink that I also have in the exact same yarn. And yeah, it's just, this is just like a lovely mindless project. This is a project I work on when watching TV, basically. I don't watch a lot of TV, but we do have a couple of series that we watch together, my partner and I. And this is a great mindless project for when I'm doing that. So basically, I'll just like grab the ball of yarn, grab my crochet hook, which is the 4.5mm. I should probably have done a 5 in hindsight, but we're also clever afterwards. But yeah, as mentioned a few times, you know, it's still not too dense. It could have probably been drapier, but it's still okay. And yeah, it's just this great project for watching TV because you don't need to think too much, you know, like the benefit of this is basically like, you know, in each V-stitch, so I let's see, green is basically the stitch where I am, so I would have to insert my crochet hook in that stitch. Then I would work in 7 double crochets, then I would in the previous shell and the 3rd/4th stitch, I would insert a single crochet, and then I would go on and do another 7 double crochets, etc. So it's very, very repetitive and easy. You basically almost don't need to think. The only thing you need to make sure is that you really have your 7 double crochets, because if you don't, then the following round is kind of screwed up. So that's you know, it's just this lovely mindless project. So I don't have goals on how quick I need to make it. I don't nothing. It's just basically, okay, now we are gonna watch this TV series. It might last an hour or something like that. I grab this with me and I'll just crochet mindlessly on it, where some of the other projects I work on requires a little bit more attention to detail. So it's the perfect TV project, at least I think so. The yarn I'm using is this ice yarn, which is a bit fluffy now. I have done a lovely centerpole. It works fine with the centerpole. It's 100% acrylic. As you can see, it has this lovely sheen on it, of specs. I'm not really sure further than that, but it is very gorgeous. It's not a specific type. I haven't found it if that's the case. It's called Sails Plain, which is basically just some yarns they have left over, and then they put them in these sails bags. I still have a few of these white skeins over, and then I have some pink, baby pinkish, which I will be using as a small border. And then I will, so let's say I'll do like 2 or 3, probably 3 rows or something like that of this pink border. And then I'll add another 2 or 3 rows of the white to kind of finish it up. But first I needed to have at least this meter of width, because that gives it a good, decent sized baby or toddler blanket. So that's the current goal for this. Yeah, I think we are going on to the next project, because I have been a busy woman. And the next project is the bag / clutch. And for that one, I am using the 4mm crochet hook. I do not have a lot left to do. A couple of more rounds, I think, and then I'm gonna be done, at least with the crocheting part. This is how it looks right now. I'm personally against, but that's maybe just me or my taste, that the height of the bag exceeds the width of the bag. And the width of the bag right now is 23 centimeters. And the height is 11.5. So that's basically right now half. So that's kind of a perfect clutch size, though I would like to do a few more rounds. Then I weighed up the yarn I have left, and apparently, let's see, I'm going to compare it to a full skein, but apparently this is like a third of what's normally in the skein. It just feels so much bigger though. But if I take it up like this, I don't know, what do you think? Like looking at this, weighing it up, there's a lot more, or a lot less left than what I thought. I thought we're like halfway in. But I weighed those two, like those two started at 100 grams in total, and right now they're like 25. That's a quarter left. So this one right now is 3/4 of those two skeins. That means that I can probably add a few more rounds, like 4 or 5 more rounds, and then I'm pretty much done. I think that's also probably the perfect size, so that's amazing. So that's basically what I'll keep doing. I'll keep adding a few more rounds. And I don't think I will add much more than 5 or 6 in total. We will have to see. Also how much yarn there is, of course, because I can't stop halfway. I need to make sure that I am stopped here at the end. It's a very nice, dense stitch. I really, really enjoy the stitch, the texture it gives. It does take a little bit more effort to crochet with, but that's due to the fact that it's double layered, and intentionally, I think, used a little bit smaller hook to ensure that it's a more airtight kind of stitch. It is quite simple. It's basically, make sure that the stitches you have, because you keep crocheting in the round, the stitches has to be uneven. And then you basically do single crochet, long single crochet, single crochet, long single crochet. And that's how you keep working all the way around. So the normal single crochet you insert in the normal stitches, and the long ones you insert in the ones from the previous round. Let's see if I can actually find it to indicates. We are here at the end of the round, and let me see where I should be doing. I need to go with a long single crochet according to this, but that's difficult to see here. So long single crochet, long single crochet a bit further down, and up the single crochet, long single crochet, etc. So as you just keep alternating basically, and that provides you with this absolutely gorgeous stitch. Not the last time I've used this stitch for sure. Probably also not the last time I've used that for a bag. So awesome. I use this lovely Mayflower cotton yarn for it. This is a full skein I have left. And I'm of course trying to have as little as left as possible. It's 100% cotton, 8/4 quality. I double hold them, so that's equal the same as an 8/8, and with a 4mm crochet hook. And of course, we talked also about adding a lining to the bag. So I bought some lining last time I was in the city, and the lining I bought is also 100% cotton lining, which is gonna be this color. And yeah, nothing crazy about it. It's just a plain natural cotton, and it goes, I would say, pretty well. It's a bit lighter. Of course, it goes with a zipper, and of course I need a thread for it, and I do actually have different thread board. You will see that in Friday's yarn haul video. And then when I was doing the groceries, as I said in the beginning of this video this weekend, I came across this in the supermarket. So now I have plenty of sewing thread, and looking at this one seems to be the right choice maybe. So yeah, so at least I have the thread secured for this project. The last project that I'm currently working on is this Leafy Shawl, and I have also gone a few more rounds ahead. It is a thinner thread. It is the Cotton Cake from Stanley Yarns, and it is this gorgeous green. And as you can see, I am really into this, where it starts to get into this lighter green. And we have this more like light mint green in the very center. I'm not really sure, like, I find it a bit funny looking at this. It's a bit like candy striped green right now. And I decided to easier keep track, to insert a stitch marker where I left off last week. So that will be right here. And this is the amount of extra rounds that I added on. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more rounds I've added. So that's almost 3 more repeats. And it's starting to really take a nice shape. And you can see how it's also starting to get lighter. But it's far from the size it really needs to be, of course. I'm about 1/5-ish into this cake, maybe a bit less. The cakes are 250 grams, and I have about 40 to 50 grams of yarn crocheted up into this. So it is still doomed to be a decent sized project, even though that I am using a 3mm crochet hook. So it's gonna take a while still before this is completely crocheted up. I have the plan on making this into a tutorial, though it's gonna be with a different yarn, which I've already shown once. I happen to have that yarn upstairs in my yarn stash right now. But as soon as I have the time to start working on this, I will also add that as an sort of extra project on the go when I'm working on it, simply because it will take some time. I like to have the project finished before I post a tutorial for it. And I'm slowly been enough repeats here to be able to elaborated it well enough for a tutorial. I don't think, since it's a short repeated pattern, I don't think it will be too long though. It's just gonna take a while to produce it because it's gonna take a while before you crochet 1,000 meters of yarn up. And yeah, I like to show. So I really like the progress of this. It's turning out really, really nice. I might turn this into a gift later, or I might sell it. A part of me has sometimes considered opening an Etsy store, and sell some of the extra crafts that I don't really need, but I haven't really finalized those thoughts yet. It's just on my mind. Or I have created it, but I haven't really posted anything to it yet. But again, it's just something I'm playing with. Because, you know, I can't keep all my crafts simply. It's that simple, you know, like, you know, I can't. I gave away, as a present, a baby blanket that I finished up last year in the Dutch flag colors to a friend who used to shoot air pistol in the national team. So she's, in that sense, used to competing for the Netherlands. And I gave that to her because she's pregnant right now and she's due in August. So that was my gift to her. And she was really happy because, you know, the child is going to come in August and that's going to still be a bit warm. So the blanket is perfect instead of like a warmer duvet. It can easily be used for like the baby carrier and stuff like that. So she was really happy and it really pleased me to actually have made something in advance that I knew I might eventually need as a present. And I just had it on store and I could give it, and she was really happy. That's made me really happy because there was plenty of hours into that blanket. It was one of those where you're like, goodness, I am now kind of getting tired and bored of this project. We all been there. And then eventually you just decide, I need to do this at least every week. And then you get it done. What I'm also doing is right now is I'm collecting all my scrap yarns. The scrap yarns are all the ends that I weave in, and you know, like you still have a bit of left and you kind of cut them off. And I decided to start collecting them in this small zipper bag. So this is kind of like my current scrap yarns. Because I found it a waste throwing it out. I decided this could be great filling for amigurumis. I don't make amigurumis very often. And definitely this is not even going to be close to a filling of one. But I decided that was a great way of recycling some of the things that normally else just would end up in the garbage bin because you can't really use it for anything else. So here I am making this sort of small collection. The bigger collection of scraps are more for whatever projects we can imagine. But I thought that was a great idea. I also have a few more hats I want to make. And some of them are indeed for donation for this good cause where I am crocheting for. And the idea is to bring a few with me when I'm going home. I have now made the appointment, so I am actually going on vacation in the end of August, where I'm going to see my parents and see some of my family in Denmark. So I'll be flying home and see them, and then I hope to be able to bring a couple of crocheted hats with me to donate to charity. My mom is a part of a place which, for a very good cause, received donated yarns. These yarns can be from like when elderly pass away and they had a yarn stash or what they like and not. This gets donated to this good cause and they have this storage of yarn. And there you can actually go and pick up some yarns for which you can then in return crochet or knit socks or hats or scarves or whatnot to people who's homeless and less fortunate in life. These crocheted items usually end up with churches or places where people, especially the homeless, can go sleep in the winter and keep warm. And then they can then have the option to actually get something new for them. And I like the idea of having some of the yarns that I don't know what to use for, that I can actually crochet up a piece and donate it. You know, I have the ability to do so, and you know, I like that thought. Maybe, yeah, it's a great idea. So a lot of people, including my mom, brings the yarn home to make crocheted items to donate in return, but they don't pay for the yarn in this case. In my case, right now, I haven't picked up any yarns. Maybe I could pick up some yarns when I'm there. Would have to discuss that with my mom, obviously. But yeah, so the idea would then be to crochet items and return them back. Likely, I'm probably bigger into crocheting hats than anything, because it's an easy, quick whipping up project, where crocheting socks takes ages, and they never have as a good fit crocheted as knitted, and that's just my very personal opinion. That's how it is. I think that's pretty much for this time around. It was an absolute pleasure talking about yarn and yarn updates and everything currently going on. And of course, I will be back next week with a new yarn talk video on Monday. But we have many other things going on right now. On Thursday, I will have my next giveaway here on this channel. And then on Friday, we have a yarn haul from Linda Hobby, showing some yarns that I have planned for a future cardigan / vest. I would say cardigan. It's long sleeved. I found a wonderful pattern on drops. I will be sharing that as well with you when you see the yarn. And there are some accessories in that yarn haul as well. Stay tuned for those. Of course, that's interesting. And that's about it for this week. So you have a giveaway coming up on Thursday and a new yarn haul on Friday. And then we will be back on Monday with a new yarn talk video. I hope that you will have a great week ahead and stay safe. Happy crocheting and happy crafting in general, happy knitting, whatever your craft may do, as long as you enjoy doing it with yarn. Take care. Bye.